So it turns out that not everyone knows who Jeremy Fragrance is. As of this video, Jeremy is the highest subscribed to fragrance reviewer that's on YouTube. But I don't feel like I can introduce Jeremy to those of you that don't know him. So I'm gonna go ahead and run a little bit right here to kind of introduce who he is. In this video, I'm going to go over one of the two fragrances that he has released, which his first release was Office for Men. Office for Men is basically just a loud, obnoxious, people-pleasing fragrance. They've taken Dior Sauvage and Creed Aventus and they had a baby. Office for Men. Minus certain aspects to these fragrances, but that's basically what you get there, with a heavy dose of Embroxon. Which brings us to the second release, which was Date for Men. Here is the front of the box. It's very plain. You guys can see here, it is an EDP, which I'm still not sure if it's actually an EDP concentration or if it's extrait de parfum. Initially, he stated that this was a misprint. I'm not sure if that's ever really been talked about too much. Nothing on the side there. On the back here, you have that says fragrance 1, that's made in Germany. You have your ingredients. You can only assume that's your batch code and all this other information with a barcode. And with nothing on the top. From the back, you have no way of telling if it's Office for Men or if it's Date for Men until you turn it around. And here is the front of the bottle here. And on the bottom here, you see again that is EDP. So I'm not sure if this is actually extrait de parfum. I think they misprinted twice. And they see that it's made in Germany with 100 ml and batch code again right there. And here is the top here. Take this off. You get this little cheap little very bendable cap here that I don't want to bend with a crimped on atomizer there. So I'm not the biggest fan of how this looks here. It just looks kind of cheap to me. This has an amazing atomizer. But now let's get into the notes of this fragrance. Fragrance 1 states that their fragrance is perfectly engineered to bring out your inner CEO. And I'll be real with you guys, this is not the kind of fragrance that is, in my mind, creating any kind of CEO kind of scent, with top notes of mandarin, bergamot, lemon, and cardamom. Hard notes of Embroxon, extreme woods, and juniper, with a background of musk, patchouli, oud essence, and vetiver. So right off rip, y'all, this is a very loud fragrance. This is hands down one of the loudest in my collection. This is not the kind of fragrance that you're gonna want to put on and just, you know, put on 3 or 4 sprays, pulse points, and out the door. This is one that you're gonna put like one on from like a distance, and you'd be just fine. The bergamot, cardamom, and the juniper really shine for me in the opening. And when it was released, there was a lot of controversy over the oud that's in here. Even on the Fragrance 1 site, it says oud essence. So it's the essence of oud, which could be a, not right out saying that it's oud. Jeremy's spray instruction for this are 5 sprays when you wear this. I've worn 4 to 5 sprays of this, and I pretty much smoked out an entire room. This at 3 sprays had people calling me on my lunch break from work saying that the entire hallway still smelled like me. But I have been much more confident on this than I ever was with Office for Men. Now, in terms of it being a date fragrance, this is more of a clubbing fragrance. This is not gonna be something that you're gonna wanna go out to a really nice steak dinner with somebody and you're gonna be wearing this, because it's gonna reach, then they're probably gonna taste the ingredients in this versus over what you're eating. That's on my hand. I mean, you can just see this shine on there. It's projecting heavily off my hand right now, and it will do that for a long time. The strength behind this is so strong that it clogged my sinuses in the past. It's made it so that like I'm sitting at my desk and I can't really breathe because this is just so much. This is just, it's very easy to spray too heavily of this. Once it dries down, that's where it really starts to shine. That's where the sillage really comes into play with this fragrance. This is much more of a sillage based fragrance than it is like a close up sitting next to somebody kind of fragrance. I personally would not wear this inside. I could not see this being worn as like a signature scent. Even for dates or for an office, this wouldn't be really something I would ever reach for. The only time that I would ever reach for this is if I went to like a big club somewhere, maybe even like an outside club, just because this indoors is a lot. But if you want a fragrance that's just loud, in your face, punch you in the face, basically like a modern day Versace Eros that has the modern DNA that's been perfumed by Alberto, then this is something that you can look for. But then we get into the price. So the price with this, I think you're looking at around $250. He does have the buy one, get one deal every now and then. He also sells the 10 ml decants, like travel sizes now, along with candles. So now it's Date for Men, the candle, Date for Men, the travel atomizer. More power to him, that's awesome. But back to this right here. This right here before shipping, which I think he is covered the shipping, is $248. So for 100 mls, you're looking at 700 sprays of this, which is pricey. That is a lot of money. $250 for a fragrance is a lot of money. But can I honestly say that there's much else on the market that's like this? Yeah, there are. There are some designers that are this loud, this obnoxious of a fragrance, but this is in its own ball field, guys. When I say in terms of performance, projection, longevity, compliments, it checks all the marks there. It does get a lot of hate. There's a lot of hate that comes towards this fragrance and to Office for Men. In my opinion, is mostly revolving around the cost, because that, like I said, is a lot of money. The hate isn't really warranted in my opinion, whether it be because they don't like Jeremy or they don't like the price. I think kind of weighs a little bit of both of those instead of disliking the actual fragrance itself. Because in my opinion, the actual scent of the fragrance is okay. It's pretty good. Loud, but good. And if you go into it knowing that it's gonna be really loud, and you know that's gonna be that kind of factor, that kind of, you know, walk into a room and it fills the room kind of fragrance. If you go into it knowing that, you won't be disappointed. Your bank account will be, but you won't be. And now they sell those decants. You don't have to go to some shady person and get a decant, which there are a lot of people out there that sell decants of Office and Date for Men that are great. Making Sense is one of them. But there are people out there, you don't want to go on eBay and randomly buy a decant of this thinking that it's going to be that for sure. So if you're able to pick up a decant from Fragrance One, I recommend that. Obviously, it's coming straight from the person. So performance on this, I honestly give this a 10 out of 10. There's not much better performing fragrances in my collection. Probably have 3 or 4 in my collection right now that I would give it a 10 out of 10, this being one of them. Or 9 out of 10. It clogged my nose once, and yeah, it performed too well in the sense of projection. Put it that way. If you were to put this on at say 6 p.m. for your entire date night or entire night out, 3 a.m. rolls around, this is still going to be coming off your skin pretty good. If you put it on at 8 in the morning, I'm gonna ask you what's wrong with you. Why? Why would you do that to your coworkers? Don't do that to your coworkers. And to the actual scent, I give this a 7 out of 10. It's not the best smelling thing in my collection. It's not the worst smelling thing in my collection. The compliment factor here does increase that somewhat. I personally probably have it at about a 5.5 out of 10 because the scent is kind of boring. When I spray it, I'm not reminded of anything, but still, it doesn't really make me go, oh wow, that smells amazing. Really. It's unique, but it doesn't have that wow factor to it for me. Outside of it being extremely loud. One thing that I have noticed for sure with this is that it's much more preferred by the women than it is by the men. Basically, like the flip of Aventus, this is complimented very heavily by the women and not so much by the guys. It's nothing that really is wowing to me. It is good, but for 250 bucks, I don't think it's gonna be, you know, the best thing you can pick up. One, because it's a pretty plain bottle. It's nice, it's sleek, yes, but if you're gonna charge 250 bucks, you want some sort of presentation behind it, in my opinion. Look at Kilian, for example. They have amazing presentations. Look at Xerjoff, for example. Amazing, right? I get it, you know, it's like Apple, you know, super plain Jane, simple, and it's really about what's inside versus the presentation, but that brings me back to paying 250 bucks for it. But I won't fault the actual fragrance itself for the cost of it, because that's silly when you can just buy a decant and still get to enjoy the fragrance for significantly less. You might not get the full bottle, but you'll still be able to afford and wear the fragrance at a fraction of the cost. Now, does this get a blind buy approval from Georgia Gent? No, this is not a blind buy, especially at this size. Does the decant size that he sells get a blind buy approval from me? Yeah, it does. If not from Fragrance One, then from somebody who you can cred check and verify is a legit buyer. Buying a decant from them for 20 bucks, yeah, it's worth it. Just because there's not gonna be much that's in your collection that's gonna be similar to it. It does have its place. Like I said, it's not a signature scent kind of fragrance. It's not something that can be worn every day, or, well, that I would personally wear every day. And it's not really like a smart reach. It's not something that you're gonna reach for and you're just gonna be like, oh yeah, this would be just fine. You're not just gonna be like, and go about your day. That's not how it's gonna be. But guys, I hope that provided some insight on this fragrance. But now before I go, I'm gonna reference the dry down here that's been drying down now for about 20 minutes or so. So it's still heavy Abroxan. There's a bit of musk that's there. In terms of an oud essence, I don't know. I think it's just a blend of all the different essential oils and stuff and kind of ground up together that create an aroma that's oudy. This might be oud, it might be oud, so let's call it an oud essence. And y'all, to be real, this one right here would probably project off my hand for like the entirety of the night. Even now, the oil is still, look at that. That's crazy. And the Fragrance One line and Jeremy are planning to expand even further than just the Date and Office. They also have plans on releasing an entire line for women. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say I'm not gonna buy those because $250. What I do hope he does is come out with some sort of body wash. That'd be kind of cool. Like how Dior has their very cool spray. I would probably get like an Office like body spray or deodorant. I'm not sure if he's working on that one or not. He might be. If I had to give you that idea, Jeremy, my Venmo's in the description. So to recap, Date for Men, when is this appropriate? You're gonna be outside, maybe on a date, maybe at a club. It's not office friendly. It's not a close indoor friendly kind of fragrance. And it's not one that you're gonna wanna wear as a signature scent. And at the end of the day, even Jeremy himself says that this is a fragrance that it's like a playful fragrance. It's not meant to be something that's super serious like Office. How he says Office for Men is meant to create your inner CEO. This is the playful version of that. This is the more, just not a serious version of that fragrance. And guys, in my opinion, this is a max 3 sprays kind of fragrance. Anything over that is just, you're gonna be hurting yourself and everyone around you. But guys, that is my review of Date for Men by Fragrance One or by Jeremy Fragrance, whoever you wanna say this by. Y'all, like I always say, keep it gent and love your scent, and I will see you all tomorrow.